Welcome to the show tonight, guys. It is October 6th, 2011. That intro, something about that daggone intro, I think it's just way too long. I'm going to have to change that. But anyway, over the news, and then we will talk about alternative energy and how we can become self-sufficient. Have you noticed all the stuff that's going on Wall Street here over the last 2 weeks? The media, the mainstream media, are painting these people up to be idiots. And I think that some of the people that they're interviewing out there are pretty much clueless on what's really going on and who the enemy is. But something just happened today on Wall Street when the protesters were hit by pepper spray. Fox 5 News over there in New York, the crew was also hit by pepper spray. This was uploaded by my Fox New York staff, myfoxnewyork.com. While covering Occupy Wall Street protest on Wednesday night, Fox 5 photographer Roy Eisen was hit in the eyes by pepper spray from police officer, and Fox 5 reporter Dick Brennan was hit by an officer's baton. The protests on Wall Street continued to grow all day. The rallies and their participants are showing no sign of slowing down. And I'm telling you guys, there's going to be a revolution, and you usually know how revolutions work out. Always brings in a even worse dictator than before. However, I believe if you focus your energy on the right people, such as the IMF, the World Bank, and the Federal Reserve, we may be able to get something done. But as long as people are swinging their arms at nothing and screaming out, "Make the rich pay more," the real controllers behind the scenes will just be laughing, smoking their cigars, and drinking wine. Of course, that is just my opinion. I could be wrong. I wish someone would tell me something different, but that's what I've found out by reading the history books in the past. You got to watch for the unseen hand, because the unseen hand is what's causing things to happen. Have you guys heard of Fast and Furious? That the gun deals going down to the drug lords there in Mexico? Well, not only this administration, but the last administration had the same problems with guns walking. According to Associated Press, says AP sources, Bush-era probe involved guns walking. Washington, the federal government under Bush administration ran an operation that allowed hundreds of guns to be transferred to suspected arms traffickers. The same tactic that congressional Republicans have criticized Barack Obama's administration for using, two federal law enforcement officials said Tuesday. Representative Darrell Issa, Republican out in California, Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican Iowa, and other Republicans have been hammering on Obama Justice Department over the practice of known as letting guns walk. The congressional target has been in Operation Fast and Furious, which was designed to track small-time gun buyers at several Phoenix area gun shops. Let me see, up the chain to make cases against major weapons traffickers. In the process, federal agents lost track of many of them, more than 2,000 guns linked to the operation. Now, when Bush was president, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms in Tucson used similar enforcement tactic in a program called Operation Wide Receiver. So as you can see, guys, it doesn't matter what or who is in power on the right-left paradigm. They're all one and the same as far as I'm concerned. And if you've done your own homework, you will find that out as well. This administration is just as bad, if not worse, than the last administration. And if you notice, we have Democrats in office now and not Republicans. I remember when I was complaining about Bush back in 2006, how bad the economy was. And then along came Barack Obama, who had no experience, gets in there and does the same, if not more. You know, is almost like Bush's stuff on steroids, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's the way I feel. Also seen another report over at USAWatchdog.com. I don't know if you guys ever checked that site out. It's pretty interesting. There's a report over there on October 5th, which was yesterday, that says there is no plan to fix the economy. I believe that is why I'm having this show tonight. We need to become more self-sufficient and not have to rely on anyone or anything but ourselves. It says right here, Greg Hunter's report, it says, I and many others have said when it comes to the economy, nothing has been fixed. I thought Federal Reserve Chief Ben Bernanke underscored the fact that when he spoke yesterday in Washington, D.C. for the Joint Economic Committee, Mr. Bernanke said in prepared remarks, there have been some positive developments. The functioning of financial markets and the banking system in the United States has improved significantly. Really? Hey, guys. Things have improved significantly. I guess we don't have to worry anymore, do we? And anyway, it says, of course, there was not a word about the recent credit downgrades for the three big U.S. banks. I also don't see how the banks are in so much better shape with many of their stock prices tumbling, which I'm sure you guys that checked out the market, you've seen that. Bernanke also admitted, nevertheless, it is clear that overall the recovery from the crisis has been much less robust than he had hoped. Really? Print money, Bernanke. Enslave the people. I'm not sold on your words. Anyway, it says Bernanke is still saying that the lethargic growth of the economy is due to temporary factors. Temporary, huh? And yet, he also told the Congressional Committee that the so-called economic recovery is close to faltering. Is this guy on dope? It says, I don't see how these kinds of back and forth contradictions are not the sign of the Fed chief with a clear view of the economy, let alone with a plan to fix it. The fact is that the Fed lacks regulations, easy money policies, and massive bailouts are a big part of why the economy is in the shape it's in. To be fair, it's not all Bernanke's fault. First of all, Alan Greenspan was no maestro either. The last Fed chief who could call himself that was Paul Volcker. He raised interest rates to the moon to kill inflation, and Wall Street hated him for it. In the years leading up to Mr. Bernanke's appointment, Greenspan was quick with his own bailouts and never saw regulation he couldn't bend or cut. It was Greenspan that pushed to get rid of the Glass-Steagall, and from that point in 1999, it was all downhill, which I've seen it too. Congress was basically taken over by Wall Street years ago. Duh. And instead of statesmen, all we have now is mostly bagmen. Nobody has a spine or political will to do what is necessary to do the right ship of state. Congress cannot agree on anything resembling a financial plan to get America back on track. Congress is also divided that it has flirted with shutting down the government several times this year. Now the so-called super committee is supposed to cut $1.5 trillion from the federal deficits by the end of the next month. Yesterday, Bernanke warned Congress about crucial objective by saying the federal budget is clearly not on a sustainable path at the present. The Joint Select Committee on Deficit Reduction, formed as part of a Budget Control Act, is charged with achieving $1.5 trillion in additional deficit reduction over the next 10 years on top of spending caps enacted this summer. Accomplishing that goal would be a sustainable step. However, more will be needed to achieve fiscal sustainability. All I can say, guys, is ever since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913 at Jekyll Island between a few elite bankers, this country has been taken over incrementally by socialist and communist ideas. But, there again, just my opinion, I could be wrong. Did you know Obama repealed the Fifth Amendment? Here's an article I'd found by Bob Bauman, the Sovereign Investor. This was just put out the other day. Matter of fact, not the other day, yesterday. He wrote, "Rarely in my long life's experience have two news items been published on the same day that demonstrate such palpable irony. The two stories that appeared in New York Times last Friday, September 30th, and when read together, present a sharp and discordance that far exceeds the simple and evident intention of words and actions recounted. Due process in 1945. Item number 1. Entitled, The Nuremberg Scripts. Joe Nakara told how, in November 1945, 6 months after Nazi Germany surrendered to the victorious Allies, a 24-year-old Army combat engineer named Harold Burson was handed a new assignment. Daily reports on Nuremberg trial of top Nazi leaders for American Armed Forces Radio Network. For the next 5 months, Burson was one of the two soldiers who reported on the trial and produced the daily script read over the air by AFRN announcers. Mr. Burson, who is now 90, is a co-founder of Burson Marsteller, one of the world's largest public relations firms, says that every 5 years or so, he goes back and rereads the old scripts, marveling at how remarkable the experience he had been afforded at such a young age. I see where Wade Hutchinson just wrote in free energy, magnetic energy, etc. We will be getting to that right after I do the news here around the world. Trust me, I will get to that. Due Process 2011, item number 2, and news analysis in the same Times edition. Scott Shane reported the killing of Anwar al-Awlaki. Yeah, I've talked about that on YouTube. Who Anwar al-Awlaki is, Al-Qaeda. An American citizen struck on Friday by a missile fired from a drone aircraft operated by his own government. Instantly reignited the difficult debate over terrorism, civil liberties, and the law. In a statement, my former U.S. House of Representatives colleague, Ron Paul, said President Obama was appointing himself judge, jury, and executioner by presidential decree and was acting outside the Constitution of the rule of law. He also added, al-Awlaki was a U.S. citizen. Under our Constitution, American citizens, even those living abroad, must be charged with a crime before being sentenced. He suggested the president could be impeached for the killing. Well, I guess Ron Paul does have a point. Ron Paul has a point there. President Barack Hussein Obama could actually be impeached for the act that he had done. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. Anwar al-Awlaki was a terrorist, but he was working behind the scenes. I mean, for God's sakes, anyone can look up in the news results that Anwar al-Awlaki dined with top military brass when he was in the top 10 terrorist watch list. I think it was like 2 or 3 months after 9/11. Now, where does that make sense? Are any of you guys going to be able to just walk in and dine with top military brass at the Pentagon? I don't think so. I know I couldn't. So how did this cat, how was he able to get in and dine with top military brass? When the fact of the matter is he was a terrorist. So people will need to put on their thinking caps and see what's going on here. It's right in front of your eyes. There is no mystery. The overthrowing of the Egyptian president, then going over to Libya. There is an unseen hand working behind the scenes, and I just hope that people will wake up. I hope that they wake up. Because I believe that our government has been taken over. In another article, to you guys' health here, I'm sure all of you know what GMO is, the Monsanto Corporation. Well, they put all this crap in our foods, and it destroys our health. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. Anyway, there's an article over at naturalnews.com that was published October 5th, which was yesterday. It says scientific studies conclude that GMO food causes organ disruption in animals. Well, if it does it in animals, it'd do it to people too, wouldn't you say? Anyway, the article was written by Jeffrey Smith. It says a new paper reviewing data from 19 animal studies shows that consuming genetically modified corn or soybeans leads to significant organ disruptions in rats, mice, and particularly livers and kidneys. Other organs may be affected too, such as the heart or the spleen or blood cells, stated the paper. In fact, some of the animals fed genetically modified organisms had altered body weights, which is a very good predictor of the side effects of various organs. See, that's why we got to get away from that stuff, man. Start growing your own food. I mean, they're putting so much crap in our food and the way they're growing things anymore, and the pesticides, it's destroying people's health. Just look in your obits daily, and you will find younger and younger people dying. We're talking in between 40 and 50 years old of cancer. They're dying of cancer. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure, sometimes it's genetically, but I think that these GMO foods have a lot to do with this stuff. Also, researchers led by French professor Gillis found that nearly 1 out of 10 measured parameters in the studies, including blood and urine biochemistry, organ weights, and microscopic analysis, were significantly disrupted in the animals that were fed GMOs. The kidneys of males fared the worst, with 43.5% of all of them changing. The liver of the females followed with 30.8%. The report published in the Environmental Science Europe, March 1st, 2011, confirms that several convergent data appear to indicate liver and kidney problems as endpoints of GMO diet effects. The authors point out that the livers and kidneys are major reactive organs in the case of chronic food toxicity. I will make sure and link to all these articles over at the site. I will be going to a commercial break here in a few minutes. The call-in number is 760-539-3244, and I will be taking your calls after the break. The call-in number is 760-539-3244. Over at Press TV, I was looking at, this is Tuesday, October 4th. U.S. plotted to change world political map. Says a new memo reveals the U.S. government plan to change the world's political map by waging wars on Afghanistan, Iraq, third country. According to the document, former U.S. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld said ahead of 2001 U.S.-led Afghan war that Washington should think more broadly instead of focusing on Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. If the war does not significantly change the world's political map, the U.S. will not achieve its aim, the memo on U.S. strategy dated September 30th, 2001, from Rumsfeld to former President George W. Bush. There is a value in being clear in the order of magnitude on the necessary change. The USG, U.S. government, should envision a goal along these lines, new regimes in Afghanistan and another key state, or two, that supports terrorism, the memo added. The National Security Archive posted this previously secret U.S. documents on September 11, 2011, a decade after 9/11 terrorist attacks devastated New York and Washington, emphasizing support for local opposition groups rather than direct U.S. strikes. Rumsfeld is wary of excessive and imprecise U.S. aerial attacks in which risk creating images of American killing Muslims. Well, Rumsfeld, I want to know where the, 2.5 trillion went the day before that September 11th, 2001. Did you guys ever see that? On September 10th of 2001, Donald Rumsfeld went on national television and had stated that the U.S. military or government was unable to track, I believe, don't quote me, I believe it was about $2.5 trillion. That's a lot of money. That was a good start to our debt, wasn't it? Of course, we never did find out what happened to that money. Excuse me. Never did find out what happened to that money. It just got swept under the rug when the towers got hit the next day. Got dropped. No one talked about it ever again. I've seen it on YouTube. Plenty of people have talked about it on YouTube. But that's about it. Anyway, if you guys have not seen where Donald Rumsfeld went up there September 10th, 2001, please make sure and look that up. Rumsfeld holding a press conference saying that we could not account for $2.5 trillion. And then the next day, boom. Everyone forgot about that pretty quick. In another report here, this will be my last report on world news, etc. It says Russia and China veto UN resolution against Syrian regime. Anger from Europe and U.S. has two Security Council powers argue implied threat of sanctions will not bring peace. Russia and China have vetoed European-backed UN Security Council resolution that threatens sanctions against the Syrian regime if it did not immediately halt its military crackdown against civilians. I personally feel that we have a lot of stuff here to take care of, and we shouldn't be going around policing everyone else when we have our own problems, giving all these countries billions of dollars when we, the people, are losing jobs left and right. But again, I feel that this is a plot, and it's being done on purpose to take down America, because we are the last free country, truly. Anyway, the resolution would have been the first such legally binding move adopted by the Security Council since President Bashar Assad's military began to use tanks and soldiers against protesters in mid-March. The UN estimates that there have been more than 2,700 deaths. The European sponsors of the resolution have tried to avoid the veto by watering down language on sanctions 3 times to point where the word sanctions was taken out. The eventual vote was 9-2, with 4 abstentions: India, South Africa, Brazil, and Lebanon. In the first double veto by Russia and China since July 2008, when they rejected proposed sanctions against Zimbabwe. In January 2007, they both vetoed a resolution against the Burmese regime. Anyway, we're going to go to a break. The call-in number is 760-539-3244. Tonight's show will focus on alternative energy and what we could do to become self-sufficient. I need your feedback, guys. I want to see if you have the answers. I think that I've found a few of the answers, but I don't know. This is all new to me. But I'll be back here in 3 minutes. Call-in number is 760-539-3244. It is October 6th, 2011. I have a call coming in, and I'm going to take the call now, and we will discuss alternative energy. Caller. Hello. Hello. Caller. I can't hear you. Okay. Maybe they'll try back. I don't know what's going on. Looks like it's my friend Terry trying to call. It shows he's on the line, but I cannot hear him. And speaking of hearing people, can you guys hear me out there? I know last week, this past week, I'd done a show, and for like the first 30 minutes, no one could hear me. So everyone over in the chat room, can you hear me? Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I could be heard. Want to make sure I'm not in a... Well, I got a call coming in again. Hold on. Hello?
That's me.
Hey! What happened with...
I really couldn't clue you. I got like a fax machine, so I hung up and tried back.
Wow, that's strange. Well, of course, tonight, Terry, we are discussing alternative energy, and one of the key people that we might want to focus on is Nikola Tesla. What do you think?
Absolutely. And you had mentioned another gentleman that I was kind of curious about, too.
Oh.
Hutchins, I believe?
Yeah, John Hutchinson?
Yeah, that would be awesome to talk to him.
Hey, Terry, we got another caller coming in. You want me to go bring him on? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay. Hello.
Hey, this is Bad Brain.
Hey, what's going on, Bad Brain?
Not much, man. You guys talking about a pretty good topic tonight, and I'm kind of really interested in. I'm a prepper, as you can see by my name. I had a YouTube channel on there for a while, but I just was getting trolled so hard, man. I'm just a farmer, I'm a little old farmer from Kentucky, and this whole YouTube thing is just really crazy for me. But I'm kind of interested on the whole, alternative energies, and I think that the best thing we could probably do is with fuel. You got these old boys in Kentucky used to make moonshine,
right?
And we I know you can get a permit to set up a still to make ethanol,
right?
But if the grid goes down and you've got like a raw situation or the crap hits the fan, nobody's going to be worried about permits and stuff, but we can make ethanol and run our tractors and our vehicles off of ethanol pretty easy. There's just a small little bit of adjustments you got to do to your, diesel motor to do that, and like on your tractor,
right.
It has to do with the
they
injectors.
They actually have kits you can put on your vehicles for that, don't they?
Hey guys,
I think that's a good quick fix to the time being right now. But I also want to talk about the magnetic energy.
Right.
Yeah, that magnetic energy, man. That's that magnetic generator is a big deal. That's a good topic as well.
Hey guys, just to let you know,
what's that?
I brought another person on. I'll let them talk after you guys discuss this. But caller, you are on the air, so if you could just keep quiet just for a second while these guys get their words out.
That's quite all right.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that's quite all right, man. Let somebody else join in. Like I say, I think what we should concentrate too is what your idea is awesome. We need to get some links for people to get those adapter kits and where the availability of that product is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll probably do that.
Go ahead.
Really, all it is there's not much to. You could do it yourself. You know, you could just all you really got to do is change the fuel injector, the injectors, to a small injector that'll actually squirt a mist. See, when you run ethanol or alcohol, it's like these old boys who run these race cars. You know, they've done a lot of stock car racing around these parts, and you know, when you run ethanol, you've got to run an injector, and you just put in a smaller injector in the injector of your tractor or whatever you're running, even your compressor. I mean, or like a generator. So if you're going to run generators, you run it off of ethanol, and you put those smaller injectors. It'll spray a fine mist in the import of the fuel part there. And then what you got to do is when you run alcohol, it actually makes a motor run really cool. To get the motor to run to operating temperature, you've got to put restrictor plates on the cooling systems, and so it'll run. So you can run it really hot.
What's the availability of that ethanol, though? I mean, would we run out if we had a lot of people converting pretty quick?
Well, the thing is, you can make your own ethanol with a moonshine still. That's what ethanol is moonshine.
Well, with a permit.
Well, with a permit, you can do it, and you get regulated. But when you're not going to worry about
you was talking about doing that on a compressor, and did Brett? I had Brett look up one. This guy's selling a compressor that you can convert with magnetic energy. It uses no oil or gas.
Yeah, so that's an even better idea. And you know, if you can get that and get your hands on something like that, I mean, it'd be better than trying to run ethanol and having all them fumes and noises and all that stuff too, you know what I'm saying? You got all that noise. Like if you're in a situation where there's an economical collapse, you know, you're not going to have to worry about, exactly. You're not going to have to worry about permits and all that crap anyway. But what you do have to worry about is making a lot of noise. And if you're out there running a motor and you got electric and all these, you know, great, you know, comfort, you know, people are going to hear it and they're going to come. It's going to attract them. So the magnetic energy would probably be the way to go in that situation.
Hey, Bad Brain. Do you have my my email, my personal email?
No, I don't. I just got your YouTube channel. Every now and then I'll throw you a message back and forth. I was the one that had asked you if you were feeling well the other day. My YouTube has blocked me 73.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can tell I've been kind of under the weather.
Yeah, we've kind of been kind of sick too lately. You know, the whole family got over a little stomach viruses ourselves.
Hey, Brett,
I don't have your. What is your personal email?
My personal email is redalertradio@yahoo.com.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
That way, if you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Bad Brain.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you find links or anything like that, if you could, man, shoot it over to me. I want to get it out to the people that are listening on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter. You know, we all got to help each other.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, you know, I know that we got to kind of do this. Wade and me were talking about that before the show started. That we got to kind of, you know, get together and make community, you know. But to get everybody else to agree on, you know, alternative energies and getting off the grid, hard part, you know.
Yeah, well, that might be true, but I also know that we got creative people out there, and if you know anybody with any electronic background or any idea or concepts of their own, start getting with those guys, man. Throw something together. That's how this country was made, man.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I used. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask who else we got on the line here with us.
Oh, yeah, Brett. This is Mark. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah.
Brett. Actually, you've talked to my brother Mike before. He's the one that kind of showed me your YouTube site.
Mike Rowe.
And, Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And one of the things I have a few things I want to talk about as far as alternative energy goes. One real easy one that I've read about or seen online in the past is simple exhaust that comes out of a vehicle can be put right back into an intake of into the motor and be reused. So if there's so much of it that's going on the exhaust that's not being used. For instance, I'm sure everybody's probably seen like old movies or something where they put spark plugs in the tailpipes. That obviously shows there's unburnt fuel,
Right.
And I would suggest a little movie for all of you guys is maybe to check out if you ain't seen before called Gas Hole. It's on Netflix is where I've seen that. Talks a lot about how the big oil industry is, and kind of, I guess the whole thing about alternative energy, I would say this in a real nutshell, is people shouldn't be looking at it to, prosper themselves. If we're going to take to this country and do the right thing, give it to your brother, give it to your friends, wherever share it with everybody. Because that's the only way that they can't kill you off, they can't put you down,
I totally agree.
I think, are you talking about when Brett said something about being self-sufficient? That's why we're doing this show, is to help bring people together so that we can get everybody to know what we can really do with ourselves.
But I'll tell you, is it Terry? I want to talk about Brett.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I speak to Brett? One thing I want to say real quickly here is when it comes to, I know a lot of people, might not have the education and background, for certain things to be able to make things or whatever, to do things like that. But what you got to really realize is you got to beware of what you read, because you may find a book that says this is not possible when it actually could be. And for example, my wife used to work for a very big publishing company. In fact, they owned Standard & Poor's, so that big. And she worked there, and they were rewriting books every year. And specifically, there were things in there that were totally against what we had been told when we were kids. So they're writing the books, feeding this knowledge into the young minds of today, and putting their reality into it, You know what I'm saying? So if they say this can't work, don't necessarily think that that's true. You know what I mean? You can't believe everything you read anymore. Especially
that's
when
true.
You know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say something, but this is bad brain, and I was going to say something about how, if you know people with the knowledge, we had a guy here in our town here. It was a very old fella, he owned a junkyard, and he made some motors that run off of water, and real genius, really sharp guy, and he died of prostate cancer here a while back, and it just seems like those guys, they're just dropping off the map every day, and it's just harder and harder to find them,
Anybody that seems to be on to something seems to kind of die, basically.
Yeah, that's true. Did you hear about the one guy where the robbery went bad? The one that created
I heard about something like that.
Yeah, he created a car running on water, a motor running on water.
There's a lot of guys that know how to do that. There's a lot of guys who know how to do that stuff, and and it's just a mystery, because I know his daughter, and the guy that I'm talking about that had just died of colon cancer or prostate cancer, that's what it was, and she said it was like he was healthy and doing real good. He had got the government had paid him and put a gag order on this guy and told him not to tell anybody and not to show anybody his inventions and stuff. And this is God's honest truth, man. Fella right down the road
from
from
the same thing to Nikola Tesla, didn't they?
Yeah, and the guy just was doing real good and real healthy, and he was like 80 years old, but he was in great shape. And then just one day it was gone like in a month. He got sick and he was dead within a month. And he was an older man, but I mean, it's just funny how he just up and died that fast, And it's just been here in the last few years that this happened, where people are starting to need these alternative energies, and trying to get knowledge of people, You know,
Okay,
pick
they've
people
already
like
been
Bill
out there.
Bernie.
You do know that, right? That our government
What's
is
that?
using.
Oh yeah, this stuff has been around for years. For 75 years. These are some of the first inventions that were ever made before the gasoline engine was ever thought of. They were making all kinds of stuff, like
Hang
that.
on one second, Brain. I wanted to ask the other guy about, he's saying about not having an education. Well, we can go back to a lot of creators that had none education.
Yeah.
And it's our experiments and our own creativity that got this country to where it's at. And we've lost that creativity, and we need to get people together with that creativity. And these people are dropping off because they're alone. We haven't united. They don't get the word out.
Right. And the guy that I'm speaking about, I think he had like a 4th grade education, to tell you the truth. He really, I don't think he ever really went to school. He didn't have a high school education. He just worked on stuff his entire life. His father's fathers and all of them, they were in it, and I don't think he went to school very long. So it doesn't mean you have to be a college graduate to know how to do this stuff. I'm just a high school. I got a little bit of college, and I'm out here building stuff all the time. I've got a farm out here in Kentucky that pretty much runs itself. The chickens feed this feeds that. It's just a system.
Right.
And I've got some solar that I'm tinkering around with right now and trying to learn about it, and I'm just like scratching the surface.
It's a start.
I see where Chevs in the chat room, Chevs111, was talking about H2O, 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxide, or hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. I don't know if he is actually talking about running a car on water or what. I guess his name's Paul, and he's also in Australia. You guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
am I back on?
I
lost you there.
I'm actually outside now. I'm not in the house because my cell phone don't pick up too good in the house, so I walked out here. It's a beautiful night.
Oh, yeah.
Am I back?
What was that again, buddy?
This is Mark. I don't know if you can hear me or.
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm on my cell phone, too, and I lost connection there, so I called back. I actually seen a video on YouTube here a while back, too. I think it was a guy in England. Or here's something that's a little bit different than what a lot of people are doing as far as alternative energy, is he mixed something with water, and he put that into his I think it was a motorcycle that he had, put it into the tank, and it ran. Without any adjustments whatsoever to it. Of course, he didn't say what it was. But
do any of you guys have links to plans for this?
I can provide some links, but I have to. When I get off the phone here, I'll go ahead and try to get some links to some of these videos I got. But like Terry was saying about the magnetic energy, these
electromagnetic
compressors and everything. That's what we need to really concentrate on, I think, the most, because it takes so long
to get an engine out of it.
Yeah, it takes so long to produce fuel and make it, and and get it to go. And we need to get away from this fluid, man. And use something solar, the invisible energy. The magnetic and the solar. That's the way to go.
Absolutely. And I want as many of our people self-sufficient as possible and show others. As long as we can
send those links out that they've got ideas or they see videos, send them to us so we can check out their authenticity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got one where there's some fellas that's made some magnetic little motors that actually will charge a battery. A car battery, and there's ways that you can self-perpetuated motors, energy that actually charges these batteries, and it doesn't take anything. It's just gravity and movement. It doesn't take solar or magnetic energy. It's just, uses gravity and stuff, and it charges these batteries up, and then there's a way you can take an old battery.
Are you talking about in a balance type of thing, like a momentum thing with balance?
Exactly. Yeah, like a balance thing or a momentum motor, right. And it would charge these batteries up. And then you could take the batteries and you can restore. You can take an old battery you find on the side of the road or in a junkyard and put the chemicals in it and reclaim the battery, and you have a power source for forever, at that point.
I've got a suggestion, and I don't know if Terry and Mark are up for this, but I would like to get with Mark, Mike, and Terry and see if we can put something together. I mean, because you guys are local to me.
Well, yeah, Brett. In fact, especially Mike's really into the. I'm surprised he's not on here. He called me up and told me your show was on.
Right.
He's right here. Call Mike. So he's really into the trying to make things, magnets and stuff like that. Definitely.
Absolutely, I want to know him.
And in fact, me and him the other day did something that was kind of interesting. I mean, like we're trying to look at things, like I said, like don't take what you read as as 100% the word proof that that's the way it is.
The word.
And for instance, we did a simple thing with we made a coil out of copper wire and had some magnets on the end of a drill. Spun it and got a little bit of reading off of it. This is no big energy whatsoever. But, okay, we got like a small amount, but we did the same thing with a steel wire. And the steel wire did more than double output. So there's something there, and it comes to think, well, why are they using copper wire for everything? When copper is not magnetic itself, it can be made that way to, through some power and stuff that naturally still is magnetic. So is the copper wire being used this might not be free energy, but might make something, more, I guess, what's the word for it, better at what it does, like make it more.
Right, like copper's, like the copper's kind of generic use right now, and but the thing is, like with the steel, it rusts, and it gets more corrosion built up on it, and I think that's why the coppers get used so much, is the steel is corrosive.
Well, when they use copper windings, they have to put it. It's got to be a varnished anyway, so it can't make contact when you're doing windings. So you can do the same thing with steel. So that would I'm sure make it last longer.
What state are you guys in? If I can ask you, what state do you guys live in?
Ohio.
What's that?
Ohio.
You're not too far. You're not too far from me. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm down here in Western Kentucky. It's pretty good, far away. But I'm working on a wind turbine. I've got a old electric motor that's got the magnets in it and permanent magnets, and I'm working on the wings right now. I've got the motor, and I took an old spindle off of a truck, one of the spindles off the front wheel of a truck, and welded it onto a antenna frame, a tower, and I got the motor on there mounted up, and right now I'm making the propeller, the blade. So I'm hoping that turns out good too. And if I can use that plus my solar, I'll have a pretty good run on powering the house here.
Hey, if you can, man, why don't you try to film some steps through that process that you're doing? You
know what? I did all that, man, and my old channel was Bad Brain Prep on YouTube. I had like 300 videos, man, and I got hacked, and they deleted every one of my videos. Oh, my goodness. I got a lot of trolls out there, man, who really hated on me, real bad, and somebody hacked into my channel and deleted my whole channel, my videos and everything. But I started making videos again. It's just I got kind of mad that I worked hard on all them videos.
Well, don't get rid of them. Burn yourselves a copy, and then, like I say, when you get hooked up with people in your area like we're going to do here, hopefully we can put something together, too, and we will be filming the progress, and you can do the same.
I got some people behind me. See, I got the Amish that live out here with me in Kentucky. A lot of Amish people. And I get with the Amish, and, man, I mean, they're good people, man, and they know a lot of stuff, and they're really into getting off the grid and everything. They use
build
solar
things
a lot,
right,
so,
too.
Yeah, and, you know, I build log cabins with those guys, you know, for work. And we get out there, they're not allowed to drive cars, and so they get the American, white, they call us the English. They get the English to drive them around, and they go out there and work with them and kind of just pick their brain and go over there. I like to go look at some of the stuff that they got, and they've got windmills that pump all the water to their house and their barn, and it's just a vast universe of knowledge over there. You go over there, and it's just, it takes a long time to just go over there and to be able to see all the different types of alternative energies they're using, and we kind of get together. I've got some of them behind me here on the back 40 acres of my property here. They they don't have no they don't have no running water, electric, or anything running back there, and they do really good. And they're starting to get hassled by the government.
Sounds like you're in my deer hunting woods.
Probably so. I got deers that walk right up in the yard. I don't have to really try too hard to be a deer hunter. It's real easy for me to pick off a buck all the time. And,
why are they being hassled?
If I could be so polite to say, shut up, man.
To me?
Hours and hours.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these guys, they hunt for sport, and I hunt for food,
Right.
And the sport there's no sport in it around here. There's just so many deers. By the time you get up in the tree stand, 3 or 4 bucks done run by you. It's like, why I can go out here in my overalls or I can walk out in my backyard in my shorts and barefooted and get deer. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
there's no real sport in it around here because there's just so many. And, they're smart, they like to stand by the road, and they like to hang out by the highway, You see more deer by the highway than you do anywhere around here. They stay out of the woods now. They're not stupid.
So these videos that you created,
yeah.
Do you have them downloaded on your computer?
Yeah, see, half of them I had them. I had so many that it was just eating the memory up in my computer.
Right.
So there's a lot of them I still have, and there's a lot of them I don't, And what I did was I kind of got mad, I thought, man, I'm never going to show another prepping video again, And I'm kind of I'm torn right now, you know what I'm saying? Because you try to go out and you show people who don't know nothing, and you try to help them, and you show them something that they need to learn, and then people just don't care. There's like I tell people, there's not enough of people like us or like-minded like this. I mean, now maybe there will be if there's an economical collapse because it's really getting too late. But, there's only like 2% of the population who want to get off their grid, who don't want to use iPods and gadgets. I'm more of an old-school type of person. I'm a 37-year-old man. I've got 2 boys. I got a 14-year-old son and a 6-year-old son, and my wife here. And my 14-year-old son knows more about old-school stuff and history of the United States than grown people do.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It is. It's disgusting.
It is.
I mean, my son, he's 14 years old, and he's on a level. He's going, he goes to school, and he'll come home and say, listen to what they told me today in school. And I'll be like, that ain't true, right? And he's like, yeah, I know. And then, he's talking about stuff. He's learned, my son can go out here. We slaughtered a cow recently when we had a little cold snap here, and we slaughtered a cow, and he hung it up, and he cleaned it and dressed it and processed every bit of it by himself. I mean, he looked like he murdered somebody. He had blood from head to toe. But, I was just proud of him. I'm thinking, there ain't no 14-year-olds out there anymore that would attempt to do that. He could feed himself if he had to. If I died today,
how many adults
he could feed himself.
You know.
What's
What was
that?
that?
I mean, how many adults would even do that today? You know. I mean, a lot of people, you know, just
Exactly.
don't even look at where
Right.
they go to the grocery
Yeah.
store, where's it from, and they don't see it. You know.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. How many adults do you know that know what part of the meat cut off and not ruin it, and the cuts of meat? And
Right.
you know what I'm saying? That's a big thing. You know, you can't just open up a deer or a cow and just start whacking pieces of meat off. You know, there are cuts there that you got to cut out right. And, you know, you got a 14-year-old boy that can do that, and much less a man of my age, 37 years old, that can do it, you know. And the only reason I learned it, well, see, I was down in Florida for 20 years before my boys were born. And I worked down there as a commercial fisherman, and I was a Gulf Coast shrimper, you know, for a long time, and made a bunch of money and got out of it before the oil spill. And I come up here and bought this property to get off the grid. You know, that was my mission, you know. And I've been here for about 10 years, about 8 or 9 years, and been learning and just kind of reclaiming my birthright, if you will, and learned how to can. You know, I'm self-taught, you know. All the stuff my grandmother used to do. My grandmother, she was a single lady. There was about 7 boys she was raising of her son's kids, you know, all of her other kids' kids. And that woman could go out, get up in the morning, cook breakfast for a house full of boys, go out, pick the garden clean, get the eggs.
They were amazing back then.
Yeah, I mean, they all day long, and they'd cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They'd slaughter hogs. This woman, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I'm interested too, though. But you grew out up in a farm out there, Mark. You're not at a farm, are you?
No, I'm not. No.
Would that be a life you could adjust?
I grew up out in the county, but not like necessarily to say a big farm. I mean, I grew up though as you know. My dad always had a huge garden. We canned, you know, not all the time, but, you know, did do some of that. And, you know, there's the things, you know, like the other guy saying, I don't even know what his name. I know he's from Kentucky, though. I'm sorry, but what is his name?
Bad Brain. Everybody calls me Bad Brain.
Bad Brain?
Most people just call me Brain.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't start canning until this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I knew kind of the basics of it, and I remember when I was a little kid, you know, my grandmother did it all the time, and I would help her and stuff. And those smells and those flavors, you know, I always was attracted to them, you know. And when I always tell myself, one of these days I'm going to make enough money, I'm going to buy me a farm, I'm going to go back home, and I'm going to do it the way Grandma used to do it, you know.
Yep, with the mop and sheet.
Yeah, you know, and now I'm rediscovering my birthright, you know, like I was saying, and all these things are coming back now, and it's like it's built inside of us. I know that it's instinct. We have instinct just like animals do, and
we do.
We're, you know, and you know, we can, any person, any city guy, someone who's went to college his whole life can do this stuff. It's in their genes, you know. It's built inside them to live off the land.
Society's also helped provide, I think, some mental blocks with all the toys and gadgets and got everybody used to being spoiled rotten.
Yep.
Of course. It's so much, you know, like I tell people, it's so much more complex to be simple than it is to be complex, if you can wrap your mind around that.
Yeah.
It's harder to be It's harder to be simple.
I'm even more simple than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so hard to be simple.
Yes, it is.
And they made it harder. They've made it harder. They've put up obstacles to make it hard for us to go back to that way of life. You know.
Well, because they pushed everybody to live in the cities. You know, land out in the counties is more expensive. You know. It's, you know, I would love to own 40 acres like you have. I would absolutely love that, to be able to totally get off the grid, you know, but my situation's a little different. I can't do it at this point, but, you know.
Yeah, it's obstacles.
That's what you can do,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you got to. And like you said, even if you're in the city and you've got a backyard, you know, do everything you can do fly under the radar,
So it's like what you can grow in a tiny little, piece of land, in Canton.
Oh, you can, damn right. I mean, I've got a quarter-acre garden here, and I feed my family, a four-people family, and there are 3 more houses and 3 more families on our street. It's a big, on the dirt road, it's a big old the farming community here. But I feed all of us during this, fall and harvest time. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh man, you give me so many tomatoes. I still got tomatoes from the last time you came by, Bad Brain," And it's just like, and I've got a basement full of food, and I've got, about a year's worth of food put back for 4 people, dry goods, canned foods. I can meat too. I know you guys have heard you can can meat. A lot of people think you can't can meat. But I can my meat too. You got to use a pressure cooker, a pressure canner. But yeah, you can can meat. I've told people, I can my meat, and they're like, "What? You can't can meat?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I put it in jars, man. Do it." And they just never heard of it. But
put that recipe out.
Yeah, I'll there's some. I'll throw some links up. What I'll do is, Brent, I'll send you some links on canning meat, and just drying meat. You can actually you can salt cure meat. I know you guys heard of that.
Right.
You can take meat from the grocery store and leave it out of your refrigerator. You go to the grocery store and you can buy meat. You can buy the kosher salt, and you can pack the salt on the meat. It has to be about, where you're doing it, it has to be like at least 75 degrees cool, the place you're doing it.
Right.
And you can dry that meat like the Indians used to do, the Native Americans.
Right.
That's how, they never had refrigerators. They saved their meat. They salt cured it, and they did things like that, to keep their meat preserved, and dried it out in the sun on the rocks, like beef jerky. What I do, I've actually got a wood burning stove, and I got a tray. A lot of people use a dehydrator, but I've got like a metal tray with holes in it, like a pizza pan. And I put my meat out there. Yeah, and I'll get a nice, not a real hot fire, but about 150 degrees, 100 degrees, and where the coals ain't burning too hot. And I'll set it on top of there, and I dry my meat out like that. And it smells really good in the house when you're doing it. It takes about 12 hours, and you set it on there at night, and you wake up in the next morning, and the beef jerky's done. So I had a video of that too, and I lost that.
Yeah, go on. So
yeah, man.
You say that you were you had a windmill or something?
Yeah, wind turbine. Yeah, I'm working on a wind turbine right now. What you can do is you can go. I got my permanent magnet motor. I guess it's a DC motor. See, I'm still scratching the surface on this too. It's a DC output. It don't take volts. It puts out volts.
Right.
And I got it out of an old leaf. You ever see those old goat leaf vacuums that you push around your yard?
Yeah.
Okay, this was an electric one from probably back in the 80s. And I guess it sucked up leaves, and, you plugged it up, and it's got a big old permanent magnet motor in it with a it's got the permanent, you can get permanent magnets online as well. And I took that motor out, and it's all set up, ready to go. You just got to change the wires around on it, You switch the wires. There you go. Reverse the polarity. Thank you, Terry. You reverse the polarity on there, and it'll start. Instead of taking energy, it'll put out that much energy. It'll put out watts. And
awesome.
Once you turn it, you turn that thing, man, and it'll shock the fire out of you.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
I want to get with Mark, Mike, and Terry this week if you guys are available, and I want to start putting something together and I'll do a YouTube video on this. If we could,
do you guys have something that you're? I mean, I got on here, probably halfway through here. I mean, you have something you guys are working on, or as far as that?
Honestly, I haven't worked on anything yet, but I was planning on starting this week on something.
Well, go to a junkyard, Brent. You guys dump to an old junkyard or a dump, and you'll find this stuff just laying around out there, Or go to somebody's old person's house who's got junk pile. That's where I found my permanent magnet motor. I was at an old guy's house. He had stuff just piled up for the years. He just collected things, and I told him, I said, what are you going to do with this old thing? He said, oh, you can have it, Tracy.
Right.
He said, that's my name, Tracy. It's my real name.
Right.
He said, you can have it, buddy, and I said, all right, and I took it home, and sure enough, it had that permanent magnet motor in it. It's labeled on there on the back of the motor. It's got a code. I don't know what it is right offhand.
How are you getting it to work?
Well, you got to turn it, and you got to use wind power. You got to build these propellers, and you can build them out of 4-inch PVC.
Actually, couldn't you use magnets and just angle them just right and start it like a pendulum that's never ending that keeps on swinging around?
Well, there's a lot of people who do that.
Tracy, are you doing it to power a battery?
Go ahead. I didn't hear that.
Are you doing it to power a battery? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, see, I'm using it to power a battery bank. Exactly.
Okay.
See, I've got solar now. I've got a small solar set up now, and it's not enough watts to pull the whole house,
Right.
I'm not looking to sell power back to the power company. Screw them,
Right.
But I'm just looking to power my house.
Are you guys familiar with that scooter they had out a couple of years ago that you use your body weight to move it and steer it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those damn
thing or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, those little things you lean forward on and they go.
Yeah, the cops started using them and everything,
Yeah. See, I'm an old country boy, man. I don't know the name for that. I know what you're talking about, though. I don't know the name of them.
Well, I was just going to say that energy that it was using right there was all momentum and balance.
Exactly.
So I would be interested in the concept of what makes that thing tick, wouldn't you?
Damn right. Yeah, I damn sure would. But like I said, I ain't smart enough to do all that. I'm just like wind and solar and all that kind of stuff. Is where I'm heading.
Yes, you are.
Man, that's just.
Yeah, don't discredit yourself, man.
That's just out of my league, man.
It isn't. You're hearing ideas right now, and one day you're going to go, I just wonder if I could do that, and you just may go out and try it. Be the guy that changes the world, man.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. What you're saying. But yeah, I just don't have the connections, man,
You are the connection. You just don't know it yet.
Exactly.
One day you'll tinker and you'll find something new.
I got a question for you guys.
I'll tell you what, I like YouTube, man. As frustrated as I am with YouTube, YouTube is definitely a source of knowledge, man.
Hey, Mark, you had a question?
YouTube's actually, I'll say a comment here quick, and I'll ask a question that YouTube's kind of ran by Google, which is ran by the CIA, so be leery of that at all times.
Right.
Yeah, that's a problem I have, too.
But,
I understand that. You're talking to the most paranoid guy in the world.
Have you guys ever heard of thermoelectric generators?
Yes, I have heard of them.
That's something
I've heard of something like it.
They're kind of a neat concept. It's if there's heat or cold on one side, it can produce energy. And if there's something like kind of a lot of them, probably doesn't really get anything out of them. But you can buy one, and I think it's like $20 or something like that. You get them online. You can get them for like $1 if you get them in China, which probably don't work. But
right,
that's something that's kind of interesting too. That I kind of one that actually want to get a couple of them and just mess around with them, see how they work. But which is kind of interesting concept. It's made of some sort of metal, and by one side being heated, like you can put it on a wood burning stove.
Yeah,
and the other
they've
side,
got fans that.
Well,
there's fans you can. There's actually they make for like a wood burning stove. They make a fan that actually picks up the heat and will turn a fan and circulate your heat around your house. So it's the same concept, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. In fact, I think that's probably a good thing to have on a wood burning stove, actually.
Yeah.
The first one I've ever seen was an Amish guy. I was out there getting some lumber from the Amish, and they had a wood burning stove on in there, and they had this little fan on there turning and blowing like really hard. And I was like, what is that fan running off of, man? And he said, oh, it's just the heat from the stove, man. Makes that fan blade turn. And I'm like, you're kidding me. He said, yeah. He said, you can buy them all over the place. I was like, what, did you guys make that thing? He said, no, we bought it online. It's like, you kidding me, you bought it online. He said, yeah, he said, we got certain people who have computers, and they go buy stuff online. You know, they have to get it accepted through the church and, you know, to go online, and there's certain people who are allowed to go online and order stuff. But, yeah, they bought it online, and I went on, sure enough, I went online, and there they are. You know, you just set them on top of your wood-burning stove, and they'll blow. The hotter the stove gets, the faster the fan blade turns. And at that concept, if you could take, like, and put, like, some kind of generator on that fan blade, it'll generate power. The hotter you get that stove, the more amps you can put out on that little fan blade, you know? So, you know, that's another little idea.
Well, your fan will need a wind always, Brain, if you don't mind me saying. But a magnet, once you got the angles of those magnets right, it would keep a constant perpetual motion, and there you'll always have your wind.
Yeah, I know about that. That once you get a fan going with them magnets angled a certain way, it'll actually start to pull itself. Yeah,
and there
I understand
you go.
that concept too. Yeah, and but these little heater, these thermal energy fans that they've got now, if you could rig up a generator on one of those, man, you just build a little fire under there and get that little thing turning, and it'll just sit there and turn all day, all night, 24/7. You know.
You know, I think that any of these concepts, if we put to work, we have to let others know who are interested in this stuff in order to make sure that we're all self-sufficient. The more people it's self-sufficient, least amount of death we're going to see here in the next couple of years, in my opinion.
My opinion on that, Brett, is, you know, if I was able to come up with something, you know, as far as alternative energy goes, I would not keep it. It would not be mine to sell. I would give it away.
Exactly,
and that I feel the same way, Mark.
That's not anything, but someone took some time to figure something out and model from it. So yeah, we shouldn't be having to pay or make people pay for that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, especially if
exactly, man.
It's free, you know, especially, you know, just give it away.
That's the problem with this country now.
Give it away, you know. That way, big oil companies can't take over it and you know, get rid of you.
Right, and that's what they've done to people in the past, Mark.
That's what they do. That's what they constantly do. Anytime anybody comes up with anything, I mean, like if you guys go watch that movie Gasol, you'll find out that there was a guy that worked with Shell Oil. I don't remember what his name is offhand, but they were designing motors to run up to, say, I think he said when he last worked there, it was about 150 miles a gallon. And he expects that they could probably do about 1,000 miles to a gallon by now.
Wow.
You know, so alternative
magnetic engine would be endless.
1,000 miles a gallon. You really need all.
Well, what I suggest, what I suggest, I'm getting ready to get off here, but what I suggest is we get these old school people and these, you know, our grandfathers and these guys from the old school, and get them together with these young guys that are, you know, with the new knowledge, and new concepts. And if you guys know people like that in your community who are old school and smart guys like yourselves that are, you know, a little bit younger, get them together and throw back and forth the information, come together and build something and start a community. You know, I think that y'all would, you know, that would be awesome, and, you know, more, you know, and more
and
power
you keep
to
doing
you,
what you're doing, man.
Oh, I am, man. I'm keeping on, man. We're doing great. I'm really proud of our small farm here, and
so we're proud of you too, man. That's a success for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is a success. I've come a long way in my life, you know. I've been around the world, man, and I've seen a lot of things, man. I've been over in Afghanistan. I've been, you know, a fisherman. I've done some of the hardest jobs, you know, in industries. I've been in, you know, some hard industries, and I was a logger at one point, and I've been in different countries, and now I'm back here in Kentucky. I'm back home, and I never had to leave, you know, but I learned all this stuff, and I'm back here now, and my sons are, you know, really impressed with what we are doing here. You know, I kind of worry about my sons going out and living the lifestyle that I lived, you know, and having to do and see the things I've seen. But I've learned a lot from it.
Well, if they at least have their way, they won't have any type of life like we lived, man.
I know. I would hate to see them have to go out and live the way I had to live to learn what I've learned. I don't regret nothing, and I'm glad I went out and done those things. I learned a wealth of knowledge, but, man, the price I've had to pay and what I've had to sacrifice to learn the simple way is the way to go, you know, and I've come all that way just to learn that, man, I'd rather just stay here on this farm and just survive and eat and make food and just be like people were in the 1800s, you know, and raise my own food and produce my own energy, you know. Well, it's nice talking to you guys. I'm going to go back in here. I'll probably be in the chat room. I'm going to get off the phone, but good luck to you guys, and I'll start sending you some links, Brent.
All right,
and,
I appreciate it.
I'll communicate with you through YouTube.
Nice talking to you, Brain.
All right, thanks, Brain.
Nice to meet you guys. See you later.
Later.
Hey, Bob.
We are here at Red Alert Radio. I've got two callers on the line. One's Terry, the other guy's Mark. We're going to take a quick commercial. No, it's not a commercial break. Music break. 3 minutes. If you could, guys, hold on the line there, and when we get back, we'll discuss this more. You are on Red Alert Radio tonight, October 6, 2011. I have two callers with me tonight, Terry and Mark. We had Bad Brain Prepper. Got my words or my tongue twisted there for a second, but I'm going to bring Terry and Mark back in so they can discuss the alternative energy. If any of you guys want to call in tonight, it is 760-539-3244. 760-539-3244. Hey, guys, you're on.
Hey, Brett. How you doing?
All right.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. You know, we ought to hook up and kind of knock our heads together and see what we can come up with anything, you know. That's what everybody needs to do out there, you know.
Right, and, you know, the problem is, in today's society, if you ever notice, everyone just goes to work, comes home, shuts their door, watches their TV, gets on their Facebook, posts some stupid post about what kind of ice cream they like or whatever. And, you know, no one is communicating anymore, you know, because all the gadgets.
Absolutely right, yeah.
I mean, have you ever went over to Facebook and look at some of these posts, man? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
I think this alternative stuff we're talking about, if anything we can get or get anybody to help get something together, just be creative, try something. Let's get some American creativity back in this world.
Yeah.
We have no choice but to do it, guys.
That's one thing that gets me is, you know, the thing is we as Americans, you know, we don't build anything anymore like we used to. But, you know, we all know that we can, you know, and it's all politics. It's all, whatever you want to call it, NWO, banking, oil men behind it, you know.
Right.
Let's got rid of it. But, you know, if we got to start doing it from our own garages to get things going, I say we do it, you know.
Right, and we've got to share that with one another and not go commercially with it because you will definitely wind up dead, for one. And number two,
I wanted to go as big as we could, get as many people involved, and fear nothing.
Well, I'm talking about on a commercial level, Terry.
Yeah, trying to be tight-knit is all, man. I mean, with everybody, as this thing grows, I mean, everybody needs to know everybody and keep in touch so we can all take care of each other.
Yep. Everyone's got to have each other's backs. If not, you know, with us all divided, we'll definitely fall.
Don't slip through the cracks.
Exactly.
Right there, you hit it, Brett. Divide and conquer.
Yep, and that's what they've always done.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever check out my past shows, Mark?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of them. Like I said, my brother sent me to them, showed me a link and everything like that, and I guess he was on one of them there for a little bit. Surprised he's not on there tonight. Kind of thought he might be, but maybe I sound stupid on the radio, so I didn't want to get on.
No, you don't sound stupid at all.
But,
no, not at all, Mark.
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, everybody just needs to, you know, start getting together. You know, I mean, to me, there's so many things that they do in this country. I mean, it might sound kind of out there, but as far as, you know, I don't even do it myself anymore. But I used to go to bars and stuff like that, and I'm a smoker. And,
right.
You know, I think pass laws like that where you can't smoke in a bar just so people can't get together or won't want to get together, so you stay at your house, so you watch your TV, so you watch the idiot box, you know.
Right.
And do things, you know.
Well, you know.
Absolutely.
So while the Internet's still here, you know, and available, you know, we all need to utilize it as much as we can, you know.
Yeah.
And they actually meet each other somewhere. Just get to know each other.
Face to face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some humanity back in our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, today was a beautiful day, guys. You live in my area, so you know, you've seen the blue skies. It was absolutely great. But
yeah,
I cruised down the road, didn't even see any kids out, man. When I was a kid, a day like this, forget it. We was playing Army or something, you know.
Yeah, we sure wasn't in the house.
Looks like we got a caller coming in, guys.
Game. You know?
Okay, Brett.
All right. Caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Bert, can you hear me?
Yeah, is this Wade?
Yeah. Oh, no, I was having problems with my connection.
You usually do.
I'm here. I was just listening. Pretty interesting topic tonight.
Hey, Wade, how are you?
I'm all right.
How you doing, Wade?
You guys could continue. I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I know that you was trying to call through before, Wade, and I pretty much had my hands full. We had, several of us on here at once, but Mark, I believe, you and your brother, you work on this kind of stuff, the alternative energy. Have you guys done anything with it, or? Well,
no, not as far as Tracy or Brain, whatever his name was, goes. We, like I said, my brother probably is into it more than I am. He kind of more understands it a little bit better than I do. Haven't really done anything quite as of yet, I guess, as far as making anything. We were just we just keep, getting together every once in a while, trying to figure things out. Just, like I said before, I don't take anything for granted. If they say this is so, I'm not going to take it for granted unless I can test it myself and see that that's the way things work or not.
Right.
So we're kind of at that stage, when it comes to dealing with things.
I'd had a discussion with your brother in the summertime. I think it was around June or July, and he seemed like a pretty smart guy. We just never got together, and I was telling Terry about him.
What was that?
And I was telling Terry about him. And Terry was...
He was just waiting to hear back from you. He's never heard from you, so I guess I don't know if you've tried to get a hold of him and missed him or something or whatnot, but, it's kind of like I guess a lot of us are, nowadays. You kind of got to be leery,
Yeah.
I don't know. You might work for the CIA,
Well, you can...
Yeah, I honestly don't think you are, but I'm just saying. You just you do want to meet someone, you want to get to know them, know what kind of person they really are. You know what I mean?
Well, the good thing is Brett and I have known each other probably a little better than 15 years.
Yeah.
I used to be in the roofing business over there in Springfield. The name of the company was On the Top Roofing.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had ever heard of the name or...
I don't think I've ever heard of it myself, but
I was kind of...
Mike, that's how he is. He's a little bit leery of people.
I understand.
Not as much as he is, but...
He actually scared the heck out of me when he got a hold of me. He goes, "I know exactly where you live." I was like...
Yeah. I don't know when he actually told me about that. I thought it was kind of funny. How would you know? How'd you know that? I guess he's seen one of the videos and seen the background. He's like, that looks familiar,
Yeah, and I was like, oh, shoot. So who else is watching me out there, man? I was like, oh.
Hey, maybe they're CIA.
Yeah.
They know exactly where you live. Worried about us.
Well, I guarantee you, they know who you are and where you live. Doesn't matter what you do online. I can guarantee you that.
I can guarantee you they know me.
Right? I got a background in IT, and it's all trackable. I'd tell you one thing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the group called Anonymous.
Yeah, I don't trust them at all.
You don't trust them at all?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm kind of not sure about them people at this point right now. I'm kind of the way there's some things are going. I think it's kind of cool. Some things I'm not so sure about.
Right.
But,
I don't know about taking down websites, dude. They start talking about stuff like that.
But if they are legit and they're doing it, they might be a group that actually can get something done now.
I'm tired of gambling. I know one thing. Brett knows how I feel about it. I think it's just time to kick some ass and throw some people in prison.
Oh, dude, I'm the same way, man. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, And,
well,
me, where they're getting everybody at right now is the divide and conquer tactic. And this guy, he's a good friend of mine, known him for years, and haven't talked to him in a while. And when he starts talking about, blacks and Mexicans and why he's having a hard time getting a job, blaming it on them. And, the fact is, it's all a divide and conquer tactic. They want a civil war. Is what they want.
Well, of course they do.
And I tried to tell him for a long time, you got to understand, man. I mean, just because, Mexicans in this country, doesn't mean, they should have the right to work too,
Well,
you can blame the people that let them in, but you can't blame them.
Right.
What you need to do is by side everybody, and like Terry said, kick some ass. Well,
it's like this, man. When the shit hits do you think them are not going to be your problem childs? They're not going to come for everything you got?
What, Mexicans and blacks?
Oh, it's going to be anyone that's not prepared.
No, it's anybody. Anybody that's unaware is what I was saying.
Oh, anybody that's unaware of what's going on, if it hits them, blindsided? Yeah.
Which will be a large percentage of all. Man, there's only, 2% of us that do know.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure you guys talk to other people that don't really know stuff, and and they all think you're crazy, nuts. Oh, everything's good. I'll wait till the economy comes better. Around everything's gonna be all peachy and all that.
Right.
I get the same thing. They think I'm nuts. I'm stupid. I'm crazy. Wacko, whatever. But I don't care.
People think I'm out of my gourd, but I don't see them sitting down reading 100-some-odd-year-old books like I'm doing to find out what's going on. That's the only reason I found out what was really going on. And there is an Illuminati, and they do exist. They're not called the Illuminati anymore.
Well, here's one thing I did want to talk to you guys about, because I know you guys hit the subject. It was one I didn't actually get to listen to. You guys got on the Masons. And I will say this from a personal perspective, okay? You got to remember, always question what you hear, and even question if it's conspiracy theory kind of stuff. But I was not in the Masons, but I was in a group called DMLA, which is basically a juvenile part of the Masons.
Sure.
My father was a Mason. My grandfathers both were Masons.
Right.
And, I do know, at least on the bottom half of it, there ain't nothing weird going on. I mean, the only thing I knew about the Masons were you couldn't be Catholic to be in it.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor, Mark. Refer. Please make sure and refer to my old show that I'd done this last week on the Masons. It's not the Masons themselves. It's the upper echelon. It's like the little Chinese doll that's within another doll and within another doll within. Once you get to the inner core.
Where you get a lot of that information fed to you just constantly is the History Channel.
No. You don't understand. I read. I'm talking
about we research. We don't just watch history.
Mark, Albert Pike, 1873, Morals and Dogma. Please, I've got that book downloaded. I will let you read it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying about the history. No, mine is actual research from what I've.
One thing is, I understand what you're saying too, but you also, I take everything as a grain of salt because, the terrorists, are what causes everything, right? And we all probably, I think, agree the same thing on that. That right, that's boogeyman, right?
Right.
Okay, so they're also going to put out other boogeymen. The Masons very well may be the Illuminati NWO. But they also may be portraying them that way also.
Well, it's not the Masons themselves, Mark. It's not the Masons themselves. They're misled clear up until the 33rd degree. After that, you find out who you worship. Well,
my dad was a 33rd degree Mason, and he went to some old Kentucky church, and his father did. His father was a preacher.
He was a 33rd degree Mason. Yeah,
and none, no weird stuff at all. Nothing. Basically, it was nothing but a bunch of guys who get together, hang out. I mean, here in Springfield, as far as the kids went, I was in because there were sports things.
Do you know who Albert
Mark?
Pike is?
Hey, Mark.
What was that?
I just wanted to say that in no way, shape, or form do we attack any religion, but what we do have is documents and actual. I mean, we have what it takes to prove what we say. We're not being argumentative with you at all or downing the Masons at all.
No.
Can I say something, guys?
Say the Masons are all good. I don't know that. I think there's going to be.
Can you hear me, Brett?
Yeah, Wade.
Yeah, Wade, we hear you.
I just wanted to say, Mark. Hey, Mark, this is Wade. About what you said, they just get together, right? You gotta remember that it's only what you're allowed to see that they'll show you. So how do you know things aren't going on the ground? I mean, that's just my opinion, but
Yeah, like I said,
they're never
going
to tell you the.
They
never show you the real truth.
Any kind of a thing like that,
I mean, it looks like a bunch of guys getting together on a weekly basis, but what's going on under the ground, like in the basement? I mean, I'm just using an analogy there, but yeah. It's just my opinion, just my 2 cents.
Mark, we're not ganging up on you, man.
So you actually have proof of
Yes.
things with Masons up? You can.
Hello?
Yes.
You guys there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Brett?
Hello?
Yes. Yes. Hello?
On the speaker. Yeah, pick it up. Go ahead.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. I can hear you guys, but what's going on? Well, it looks like our calls have dropped. I don't know what's going on here, but for some odd reason, the calls dropped. I'm just wondering if you guys can hear me out there. Anyway, I had Terry and I had Mark on the line. Somehow no one was able to communicate back and forth. I don't know what had happened, guys. We are spending our time with alternative energy here on Red Alert Radio. Looks like I got a call coming in from Wade. Wade had dropped off as well. I'm going to bring him on. Yeah, Wade?
Yeah, Brett, I don't know what happened.
I don't either. Looks like Terry's calling in as well.
Yeah.
Terry?
You notice every time we try to expose the truth.
Hey, I'm sorry about that. I didn't know you guys could hear me. All of a sudden, your radio station cut off from my phone, and I couldn't hear you guys at all.
Wade just made an interesting point.
What was that?
You know, any time we start exposing the truth on something
ironic happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a coincidence. I'm not going to let them own the rest of this show with it, though, but I'm sorry I sounded a little crazy there talking to myself.
No, I could hear you just fine, Terry.
Yeah, I know. I was turned the thing on after I hung up from y'all to hear me talking like a fool.
I just hope that Mark doesn't feel that he is getting ganged up on. I really don't.
We're not, though. I mean, I was just, giving my opinion. I mean, that's what I see. Just because we see a bunch of guys coming together doesn't mean anything. What are they doing behind the scenes, though? That's what counts.
You see, my research on the Illuminati and stuff, guys,
has nothing to do with the religion itself.
Right,
but the creation of that religion, am I correct?
Yes, and I had actually, I have actually went back and read documents. This isn't History Channel stuff that I'm learning. It's actual documentation in their own words at who they are and what they represent.
Illuminati existed before the History Channel, right? So
exactly.
That book, go around.
Yeah, that book was written in 1873 by Albert Pike. And this is
well,
the same.
I think you could trace this back 6,000 years. Am I correct?
Right.
It's
been
going on for thousands of years. It's not a, it didn't just start. Yeah.
Just like ancient Babylon and ancient Egypt, which I'd done that show the other night, which I don't know if you guys heard.
Right.
Just like Bohemian Grove. I mean, they, these politicians go there. Yeah, they look like they're having a little ritual, but what are they involved in behind the scenes?
Yeah, that is Moloch. They're actually doing that cremation of care ritual at.
With the owl, which is on the back of the dollar bill anyway. I mean, it's coded in the dollar bill. If you look closely, there's an owl. So these guys perform a little ritual, but behind the scenes, it's satanic. They worship their god, the Satan. So, and his time has come. I mean, his days are numbered. So, and I say that with authority because there's a divine thing going on here. I mean, the Creator is not going to stand by and watch his people being slaughtered anymore.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think the key thing right now is that we try to create our alternative energy. I mean, I could talk about the
I do wish Mark would call back in, though.
I do
wish Mark would call back in, though.
Mark's on now. Mark?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, John. I don't know what was being said here recently, so.
Well, I was just saying
I will tell you, I just got a call from my brother, though, while I was off there. And I guess he's got a cold right now. That's why he didn't want to call in. He said he didn't want to keep calling on the phone. And he also told me that I was wrong in the 33rd degree thing. So I don't know what, but I know my dad was a degree higher than just a normal Mason. I don't know if you guys are still talking about that or not, but it really means nothing to me, one way or the other. If it's a good or a bad organization, it's just all I can say is I do know, and it's probably like anything else, corruption's in the highest levels of anything.
Absolutely.
Lower levels. So I just want to make that point, to you guys.
Yeah, that's cool.
You're
Mark.
absolutely right. It's the corruption at the higher levels of everything.
You guys don't know what you guys are talking about now. So I heard Terry say, I wish I'd call back. So I don't know.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I lost you again, Brett. Call you back.
Hello, guys? Everyone's still on here. Everyone's still on, right? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. I can hear you, Mark. I don't know why all the calls continue dropping off. It's
can you hear me, Brett?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I thought I was lost there again.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I got back on there, Terry was. I heard Terry say he wished I'd call back. I don't know if he had a question for me or.
Well, we just wanted to make sure that you didn't feel like we was beating up on you, man. Because I mean that's not the case at all.
Oh no, I don't look at it that way. I mean, no, it doesn't bother me a bit. I mean, I've heard people down Masons, one way or the other, and it doesn't bother me. I can just say, just from a personal experience, I know what I know. That's all I know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I specialize in is history and the ancient orders. But I'm very interested in this alternative energy. Excuse me. Because I think if we could help ourselves, we can help others.
No, I'm not. Yeah. Brett?
Yes.
You got me back, Brett?
Yes.
I also wanted to bring up another aspect that we should be looking at, and that's funding. If we're going to be doing these projects, we're going to need funding.
No, not really.
Not really?
No.
Okay.
The reason why, we
help each other out, man. That's the rule of the land, man. That's the way you got to be nowadays,
It's prototype you're after.
Yeah, we don't want.
I would say, I don't know if sorry to interrupt, but the thing with funding, I would say, Wade, if the government's funding it, probably don't work. It probably never will work. I hate to say a lot of people in the solar, but government funds a lot of solar projects, so that would tell me right now that it does work to an extent, but it's not the answer.
Yeah, they're bankrupt now. So
how'd Solyndra turn out for us?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Was that $500 million?
The government's only going to feed something that don't work.
Right.
So they can feed their rich friends. You know, that's the way it works.
I mean, when I said funding, I meant on a short-term basis, not a long-term. Eventually,
no.
I want to go to a money-less society where there's no money involved, where it's just going to be
we can actually create the energy without a bunch of money, Wade. I think with just a few $100, we could put some together ourselves and learn how to, whether it be solar, wind, or whatever.
Like I said, I think it's just a prototype's all we need, a basic design that's proven.
So you guys are ready to go? Because I'm planning to take a trip down there. So,
Yeah.
One point I want to make: if you guys ever look into some patents, you're never going to see any patents that the oil companies have, but they bought them out.
I'm sure of that.
Seriously.
But the thing of it is, I don't rely on anybody but our own minds, and I think that all of us have creative minds. We just don't use them anymore because everything became too easy. Push button, voice command.
You got to get back to that. Use your head. Does this work? How does this work?
Also what they're teaching us to. They use it to dumb us down. Because what they're teaching us is one watered-down version of what really exists. Like, for example, mathematics. Why aren't they teaching us, like, vortex-based mathematics where the Fibonacci, sequence is involved? You know what I mean. It's way more complex than what they're teaching in the school systems today. So they start dumbing us down in a way.
Same with our water. They're fluoridating the water to dumb everyone down, too. So,
Well, factor in the GMO foods and all that. I mean, genetic manipulation and, it goes deeper, So, yeah.
I guess the key thing is here, guys, the only way anything gets done is by taking action. I really want to get with Terry, and I want to get with Mark, and I want to get with Mike since they're local. And my gosh, if you ever get a chance to get down here, Wade, and
that's what I'm talking about, man. Because that's the main, that's the main thing we need to be doing. We need to be pulling together and uniting. Because if we're not united, nothing gets done. It's not a one-man effort. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
We all come together. See, the more manpower we have, the easier and faster we can get things done. But when everybody's over there doing his own thing, that guy's over there, then nothing, if it's a fractured group, it's not going to work. But if we unite under one umbrella, then it works. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, what do you think, Mark?
I'm having a hard time hearing what Wade's saying, to be honest.
What I'm saying, the only way to get things done is if we pull together. It can't be a one-man effort. In other words, the more manpower, the better. So
okay, wait, hang on. It might be because your phone's breaking up sometimes and he can't hear you.
Yeah,
but Brett, I see you're running low on some time, but...
Yeah, Wade, we definitely have to do it, together. That's the only way something's going to get done. If you find an alternative energy source, that works, that's obviously the best way to do it. Because if you do it by yourself, you can be one of those that are out in the desert that they left to kill, or you somehow get cancer. Or whatnot, So the more people involved, the more people know, that's the way to do it.
Here's another thing I want to propose. Why don't we set up a program where we actually teach people how to build these things? So
we have to do it first.
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, after we do it. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, we'll talk about that after we got the other one going.
Right. I'll tell you what, guys. We got 1 minute left, and I want to thank all of you guys for coming on here tonight. I think this little brainstorm that we had was pretty helpful. But if you don't mind, Mark, I wouldn't mind getting in contact with you after the show to see if we can set something up.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'll definitely be, you guys keep me updated because.
Right. I want to say it was nice talking to you, Wade, and nice talking to you, Mark, and Brain for his piece on this today. And Brett, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. As always, nice talking to you, Terry.
Do you have a caller ID on that system there?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, just give me a call when we're done here.
Okay.
If you want.
So
Again,
that's the first phase.
This is
Red Alert.
This is Red Alert Radio. We are down to the last 15 seconds. I want to thank everyone for coming on. And please tune in to our next show. It should be Sunday evening. And you listen to, Red Alert Radio. Have a good one, guys.
All right, God bless.